it's not just time spent, it's the distraction, it's the brain power involved in doing certain things that takes away from what you could be thinking about.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. Another mini-sode, a little bit of a long mini-sode today, but can't wait to welcome to the program a good friend of mine. But first, I want to pause here, remind you that we are sponsored by a great company called ANOW Software. Of course, ANOW is a software that I've been using for years now, one that kind of took a little arm twisting to jump into. I'll talk about that at the break, but so glad I'm there. So glad for the things that it does for appraisers and technology, which is one of the things we're going to be talking about today. You can find out more by going to anow.com. That's ANOW.com. I want to welcome back to the program, not the first time he's been on, good friend of mine. And I don't even know what to, I'm not even sure, you're the founder of ANOW, but what is your role now, Mr. Marty Haldane?
So I am the president of ANOW, so a lot of the same role that I was before, but also the president of evaluation technology at Voxtur, a company that acquired ANOW last year.
Perfect. And you founded ANOW in 2011. You, of course, have always had a passion to help appraisers transform their business. You are an appraiser. I think that's cool as well. And as you mentioned, Voxtur Analytics Corporation acquired ANOW in April of 2021. You say your life hasn't changed much since then.
It has changed a lot. And it's not like what everyone thinks about you get acquired and then it's okay, yeah, here's a Ferrari. I still have a minivan and a golf cart.
Oh, very cool. Well, I appreciate you being here, my friend. Catch us up a little bit. Let's talk ANOW for just a little bit. It's been a while since you've been on. Tell us what's going on the ANOW side of things. That's, I think, what most people are familiar with when we talk Voxtur.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's been a big year for us. We've gone, people that have known us for years, always been building great tech for appraisers. That's my background. I was an appraiser. My dad was an appraiser. My grandfather was an appraiser. And over the last year, that what we really took was when we joined Voxtur, the reason that we did it was that this is a great, really smart group of people who had their hands in a lot more pieces of the real estate world, the lending world, title, all that stuff, where we could then go into some places that private company ANOW couldn't do before. And now we've been able to take the system that we built for appraisers and go to a really large lender, one of the largest in the US, and say, hey, connect to these appraisers, pay them the fees, pay them whatever fees you want, like higher, and you'll get better service. And the appraisers looked at it and said, wow, okay, it's my daily system that I'm using every day. I'm getting paid more than normal. Typically the fees that had went to some management companies, and it's all just tied in, it's easy. So we've been really focused on that appraisal direct model of how do we make that easy for appraisers, make their life better, free up time, make more money, but also creating a really good experience on the other side for the lenders, for the borrowers, for the consumers of this, because it's typically been a black box of just pitch it over the fence and hope you get an appraisal back in time. And so we've really been focused on that, but doing it from a perspective of not grabbing appraisers by the shoulders and shaking them to make them do certain things. It's what can we do to solve that for you instead? So that's been our big focus for the last year.
You know, from a top level, most people that don't use ANOW, I think, will describe it as an order management system. Mm-hmm. But it's so much more than that. Talk to us, just give us a top level 5,000 foot view of what ANOW does for appraisers.
Yeah, so ANOW for the appraisers is to run a better business. And that sounds a little bit salesy, and I don't mean it like that, because it's absolutely much more than an order management system. It's like, what are you trying to accomplish in your business? Are you a great appraiser? Are you trying to make money? All of those things have to happen to run a successful business. It's, and there's scheduling, there's administrative work, there's accounting work, there's all these things that I was fortunate enough when I was younger to work at a family business where you get exposed to not just, hey, here's how to value residential, commercial, industrial, agriculture, all that stuff that I was able to learn, but here's how the business runs. And you look at it, and there's all these different aspects that an appraiser has to do every day that can get taken for granted. You think of an appraiser, yeah, you go out and value a house. You must be, if you're accurate, that makes you good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there's a whole business that has to run. And this is what you always talk about. We always talk about that there's so much more to it. And that's the part that ANOW takes care of. We're not here to tell appraisers how to value houses or what comparables and this kind of stuff. It's like, from when an order comes in, how are you assigning that out? What's your company policy, procedures, systems, assigning them out to your appraisers if you have any. If you're a one-person shop, that doesn't matter too, because there's lots of good systems for that. But it's just organizing your business, a business in a box, some people call it. I don't use that, but it's just all of the little pieces from order intake all the way down to invoicing, down to your monthly, weekly analytics on how's my business performing. We take care of that for the appraisers so that they can be out there focusing on how am I going to grow my business? How am I going to scale my business? Set this up so that it could be acquired type of thing. So that when someone comes and has interest in your company, they say, hey, well, show us your financials, show us this. And you're like, well, let me call my accountant. a lot better if you can say, well, look at my systems that I already have in place. Look what I can show you that I do today. And wow, they said I can take this and run, or you can grow this 10 times bigger with our help.
Right. I think you and I have both had a similar experience recently with regard to acquisitions and the fact that another company is not just looking at the bottom line. They're absolutely looking at personnel. They're absolutely looking at technology. They're absolutely looking at your processes, your systems, your procedures, everything that makes you successful. And would you agree, Marty? I love appraisers, right? But for 12 years, I've been teaching how to run a business, and yet there's so many appraisers out there still who are owning their job, if you will. They're running their job, but as far as the bigger business side of things, sometimes that's skipped, right? They're a great technician, they're a great appraiser. ANOW is a system that allows you to be a better business owner.
It's 100% true, and I couldn't relate more to that, because that is why ANOW exists, because that's where I came from, right, with the family business, where my father, fantastic appraiser, super smart guy. When it came to the business side, it didn't exist. So that fell on my lap, and it was, let's get systems, didn't exist. So it's there. So it's so true. There's a huge chunk of it. It's so incredibly important and can be overlooked by many, where running the business is equally as important as how accurate you are when you go out there in the field and do these reports.
And that technology seems to fit into so much of the aspect of valuation, right? Not just on the business side, but also the valuation side as well. Let's talk a little bit about that. You're in a company that is very, very linked in with the general valuation world, right? What types of technologies and what importance do you see being placed on technology moving forward for appraisers in this crazy world of valuation?
Yeah, that's the fun thing to talk about, because there's a lot of I guess, like, rumors, but then also processes that are changing, and like what ifs that could be happening right now. But the reality is we as appraisers have to follow along with whatever the requirements end up being, especially from the GSEs. And so what we're working on here is at Voxtur is really making sure that whatever process happens, we're always taking care of our core customer. Like that, it's the appraisers. It's okay, is it different types of reports, different types of inspection processes, different measurement standards, all these things that come in. We'll make sure that they have the tools to do these. So like things that we're doing right now, I mean, from sketching, Voxtur owns Apex, which is one of the best sketching companies, in my opinion. That's what I always use as an appraiser, and it got me really excited when Voxtur first approached us. But then now we're working on, scanning with your phone, a room, doing an interior floor plan. We have that technology. I've got a demo on my phone where I can go around a room, putting that into our form software that we have, Nexus, and pulling in data from other new acquisitions that Voxtur has done recently, where we can get all kinds of amazing data, bringing it in, basically augmenting appraisers, giving them tools. How do you create a floor plan easier? How do you get data faster, cheaper, better? How do we help you with your reports so that you can come in, still do what you are good at, and you're doing the hard part, the adjustments, you're signing it, you're making sure this is good. But where they're saying, okay, all of a sudden there's a new need for new interior floor plans. How can we make that easier for you so you're not spending an hour at the property? Okay, there's a new need for this new process where there might be an inspector, and then there's a hybrid desktop appraisal. Okay, so how do we make that better? How do we bring that data into your form software in an easier way so that you're not dual entering and doing that? That's the kind of stuff that we're focused on right now. And it's just like, here's the process. Let's make it easier and better for you so that you can still be out there, back to our core values as a company. Like, how are we empowering these appraisers who we know and love, because it's part just our background, and making it so they can still continue on growing a good business, making more money. And as whatever directions the regulators, the GSEs, the market takes us, we'll be there first.
Well said. I want you to talk to the naysayers for just a little bit, Marty. Let me set it up this way. I'll take the fall on this. You don't have to say
sure.
it. For the last 12 years as the appraiser coach, I've had an opportunity and a blessing, really, to teach and to educate and to guide and direct and mentor appraisers across the nation. In general, I think most appraisers are excited about change. They are excited about movement. They're excited about new opportunity, just like anybody would, right? Change is exciting. It's fun. It allows for opportunity. However, there are some out there, mostly in the more they've been in the field a little longer than I have. I think change sometimes can be scary. It can be disappointing. It can be something that feels negative to them. Talk to that individual, especially about the processes and the technology and the way that you see. And I'm not asking you to predict, but let's maybe predict a little bit down the road, 5 years, right? And the changes that are coming. In general, what do you see as being a positive to the changes coming our direction as appraisers?
Yeah, I think I'm looking at it, the changes is more of like an evolution. Like that's what's happening with the industry right now. It's evolving, and we're keeping up with it. It's the process that existed when I started in the early 2000s is relatively the same today. And there's different ways of lenders are super competitive. There's different ways of looking at, okay, how can you get all the pieces that you need to do a loan? Like specifically looking at lending and lending appraisals, that type of stuff. And looking at appraisers, there's a lot of push to say, we don't want an appraisal. We want to do this. We're saying, no, appraisals are very, very relevant. Here's how to make the process more modern. Here's how to text the borrower on the way to the property, just like your dentist does to you, which is, I mean, if they can do it, of course we can do it. Here's how to include them more into the process. Here's when someone shows up with a tablet and they're collecting the data, the new perception is like that person might know more, whether that's right or wrong. But for all of the different things that you could say, for like one human being to go out there looking at the property, collecting that data and doing the report, sure, of course that's accurate. That's great. But there's new things that are pushing on this industry, new, not just regulation, but just like the competitiveness, the way that this is the lending industry, where it's going, it's like, we have to follow that. And because what we have found, and just simply is for every one person that says, no, I'm not going to do that, this is a bad idea, there's about 100 or 1,000 people that say, sure, no problem. We're doing it already. We're open to doing it, because at the end of the day, they're running a business. You have to ask yourself, why did I start this business? Was it to be the best, most accurate appraiser in the world? Great. That's good. But you're still running a business. You still have bills to pay, families, whatever. And that's what you have to focus on and think about, is like, where is the business going? How are you going to set your business up for succession or acquisition later? Where if there's new processes in place, if there's new reports being done, it's, do you do those or do you not? You're going to fall behind if you just stick and do the same thing that you've always done before. And I know my start to the answer was a little bit jumbled as I get to this point right here, but like, technology, processes, the systems, all that thing, they need to evolve over time. They can't always be the same as they've always been. I mean, even if that's what we're used to teaching people and this is how our business works, yes, I'm super accurate. I can go back and look on MLS, and all of my appraisals that I've ever done have been really close to this value. Great, that's awesome. You're supposed to do that anyways. But as the business changes, you also need to change. Otherwise, someone else will do it first. And then all of a sudden your business will go down. You'll say, what the heck happened? And that's the core thing. And if you're okay with that by doing it the same way that you've always done it, that's the decision only you can make.
100% agree. We're talking with Marty Haldane. He is the president, the founder of ANOW software under the banner of Voxtur. And when we get back, I want to dig in a little bit more to change that's coming and what that looks like. And more importantly, for appraisers, talking about the keys to knowing what change is good and what change we may need to make on our own. I want to pause here and remind us that we are sponsored, of course, by ANOW software. You know, years ago, Marty reached out to me more than a few times. I don't know if you remember that, Marty, and asked me to try ANOW. And I'll be honest with you, I get approached a lot by technology companies, software companies. Hey, try my thing. I put him off. I'm sorry to say, Marty, I didn't ghost you, but I think I put you off a little bit. I took about 3 months of arm twisting, and I finally decided to give it a shot. Boy, folks, I have not looked back ever since. An amazing product, a product that allows you, as Marty's talked about today, to run your business. It's not just about appraisal, folks. You've got that hat, and that's important. You got to be the best appraiser out there, but you've got to be an excellent business owner. In fact, that has to come first. If you don't make money, you don't have a job as an appraiser. ANOW allows you to see what you need to see. And if you have not checked them out lately, folks, you need to take another look. It's anow.com is where you go. Just go to your web browser and type in ANOW.com. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. We're talking with Mr. Marty Haldane. Welcome back, sir.
Hey, thank you.
It's so good to have you. We're talking a little bit about change. We're talking about technology. Those things, I think, come hand in hand. Technology is always changing when it comes to really anything, but valuation's seen a lot of change lately, aren't they?
Yeah, big time. There's a lot of, like I was saying before, a lot of rumors and a lot of things happening where, yeah, there's a lot of change happening. So with all of that, Marty, a question for you as we see these things coming. In fact, I'm just going to allude to, what I said during the sponsorship. I, as an appraiser and an appraiser with a microphone, I get approached by a lot of individuals wanting me to try their software. And, if I like it, to say good things about it, which is understandable. They're trying to run a business as well. They're trying to get the word out. But there's a lot to sift through, right? And sometimes, the old adage, and I can't remember who penned this, but, if the answer isn't hell no, the answer's, or hell yes, and the answer's no, right? And that can be difficult to get through that process without knowing what you're dealing with. My question for you, Marty, in a nutshell, is with all this technology coming at appraisers, how do they distinguish between something that's going to be beneficial and something that's just going to add more busy work? Yeah, that's a fantastic question, because there is a lot, and there's a lot of different ways of looking at how you can accomplish a task. But it all has to be related back, in my opinion, on how you specifically run your business. And we have seen this at ANOW as we work with like thousands and thousands of appraiser companies, especially where they come to you with, this is how I do things. And they look at you like, that's crazy. You've never heard that before, but literally like, no, you're the first person to ever say that. And everyone has their own unique way of doing things. So you need to really look back at like, what do you do? What does your team do if you have a team? When you do your scheduling, your inspections, whatever it is. And that's what I think is important to what people understand is systems. When we talk about systems, doesn't really have anything to do with technology. It does and it doesn't. It's like, how does your business run? How can you explain to someone new in the company what to do, how to speak to customers, how to schedule appointments, how to do like, these are systems that run your business, that make it scalable. And so what I like to, and I've done this myself in my business, and I always encourage other people too, is like, start by like, what are you trying to accomplish? Whether it's like, is it part of the sketch? Is it part of the data? Is it part of the report side of things? Is it part of scheduling? First, make sure you know your goals super clear, and then start writing down your day, whether it's in 15-minute, half an hour increments of being like, okay, what do I do every day? What am I trying to solve? So someone said, try this new app out. And I think, okay, well, how would I use this app? Sounds great. But when I really look at my day, how much of my day is spent on this type of task? And how will it change the task that I am trying to accomplish by using this technology? In a lot of cases, it could be huge. Some cases, it could be a 15-minute task that you do once a week. Okay, I mean, maybe if it's important, that type of thing. But that's how I tell people to start looking at it. There is no one size fits all. There's no two appraisers that I found are the same, or two appraisal businesses that are the same. They can be similar, yes. But when someone approaches you with a new technology, it's like, you got to relate it back to your process and your business, but not in a defensive way either. Don't look at it as in like, okay, how is this actually going to help me? Because at the end of the day, if you want to scale your business, you 1000% need to be like, and this is definitely, I'm not even trying to take credit for it. I don't want to say it in the way, but it's like the stool, the human resources, technology, and systems. That's how you have to look at like, which part of your business is that helping, and start looking at it and analyzing it that way. Because if you just say, I don't know, I just need to make more money, well, that doesn't really make any sense. We all have to make more money. That's what being an entrepreneur and a business owner is all about. So you're solving the problem that you're already needing to solve. So it's what specific thing, and get very specific, because you can make huge improvements in your business overall with little things here and there. It doesn't just have to be one like eureka moment of, oh my gosh, this is going to change my life. If you find that, fantastic, good for you. But there are things that if you break it down, you could implement 10 things, you could implement 2 things, and still give a good lift on your business. And just ask yourself, what are you trying to achieve by doing this?
I want you to imagine, Marty, as we close up today, Jane. And Jane is out there right now. She's listening to this podcast. She's out taking comp photos. She's driving around. It's kind of going on in the background. She's listening in a little bit here, a little bit there. But Jane's a little disgruntled. And she's disgruntled because she's seeing not just a little bit of change, but a lot of change when it comes to technology, a lot of different things coming at her. It's not the way she's always run her business. It seems like her business has always kind of run the way it is. And honestly, Marty, I hate to say it, but Jane is looking to hang up the hat. She's looking to be done. Maybe she's 58. Retirement's still a few years out, but she's tired of it. Advise Jane. She's out. She just got done with her third comp picture. She just pulled over because she's ready to hear your advice, my friend. Tell her what to do. What's going on? What advice?
So yeah, I would say, like, when you feel like that, every business owner and entrepreneur has felt like that many, many times. It's very normal. And that's when you look at what you're doing. Like, how much are you in the weeds every day? You're feeling like you can't grow, you can't do anything. You're stuck at a certain point. The only way you'll make more money is if fees go up, but at the same time, everything else is going up. So it's kind of relative. You need to look at, whether it's hiring someone to do a specific task, whether implementing a technology that also does a specific thing for you, or implementing a system that takes something away from you so that you can focus on not just what you're good at, but what you want to do. Like, as I would say, as a business owner, you're the person that doesn't necessarily have to be the best appraiser or the best business owner. You could be one or the other. There's many other things that you can be good. You could be great at sales. You could be great at marketing. You could be great at just operating the business. But look at those things, say, what am I actually good at, or what am I lagging? And making that decision to say, like, if I want to grow my business, if I don't want to be doing a certain task anymore, hire someone for that process, implement the technology for that process. Make sure you hire the right person. Yes, I can say that. It's easy for me to say that, hard to actually do it. We've all been there, but you can go through. That's why hire fast, fire fast. That's an easy thing to do. Easier thing to do, I should say. But just if you find yourself too much in the weeds, if you feel like that, you feel like you just can't get ahead no matter what. That's because it's true. If you stay there, if you don't do anything about it, you will stay there in the weeds, being burnt out, wondering, even if you're making good money, you get like, eventually that all catches up to you. And then that just becomes normal. And you think, man, I'm still stressed. I'm still doing too much. I still can't get out of doing the day-to-day because I feel like I need to do everything myself. That's when you really got to start looking at who are you hiring next to do specifically what? Don't just say administrator. What is that administrator doing? Is it a personal assistant to handle your emails? Also a valid reason. So what I did recently in the last year was the greatest thing. Everyone told me I needed to do that for 4 years. I was too cheap to do it. You said that a long time
ago, friend.
And oh my gosh, it's the greatest thing in the world. I no longer have to schedule anything, look at any emails, whatever. I just get told what to respond to and what meetings to show up to. Now I'm in there focusing on it sounds funny.
No, I know, man.
On like the big important items rather than spending hours a day, because it's not just the time spent. What I would also tell this person is that it's not just time spent. It's the distraction. It's the brain power involved in doing certain things that takes away from what you could be thinking about. If you're constantly thinking about, oh, I have to go drive through these comp photos, or oh, I have to go do this. Like, that's time you could be spent saying, I wonder what new marketing I could be doing. I wonder which people I could be talking to. And that's just like shifting your brain to think like that about what are the bigger things that I'm good at, what I could be doing, and where can I offload this stuff that I feel like I need to do, or I don't need to hire someone to do it, like me and my assistant. Like, sure, I'll handle my email and my scheduling. But now Dustin, as he knows, he probably deals with me. It's a million times better experience than dealing with my assistant at first. So it's like, hey,
he actually responds to me now.
Yeah. But as simple as break it down. I'm not going to tell you how to be a better appraiser, run your business better. I'd say you have to analyze, going back to breaking down your day. What are you doing? And where can you start delegating that to who? Like, I mean, give you a crazy example. Personally, like Dustin, when you talk about getting your firm on board, my wife was the one who inputted all your orders from your beautiful spreadsheet. Spent nights. We both did it, putting that to try and convince you why ANOW is so great, bringing in your old data. So like I just couldn't do it. It was like, this had to get done. Luckily, she stepped in. Otherwise, like, that's the whole thing, is like, you would think you have to do something. You got to start delegating stuff out. Your life will be better. Even if it's a cost, yes. But if you do it properly, that will come back, and you should be getting multiples on what that cost is in a short amount of time. If not, fire and rehire. That's simple as that.
It's an investment. All right. Final question, my friend. We're at an appraisal conference, so I'm an appraiser, but I've never heard of ANOW software. We get into an elevator. I see your t-shirt and I say, what's ANOW? Give us the elevator speech, man.
So the elevator speech, appraiser, easy. Do you want to run a better business? Do you want to make more money? Do you want to be happier? This is the system that will take all of your orders, whether they're private orders, lending orders, doesn't matter, organize it under one roof, get you as an appraiser and a business owner, depending on what you are, super organized. If you have a team, they will love it. They will know what's happening. It'll be easier to add more appraisers, scale your business, grow into new market areas, all while being able to look back at any time in the day or night or weekend and say, how well am I doing? How much money did I make last night, last month, last week, last year? And you know everything happening in your business, and you didn't have to do a single thing because it's just happening with the orders being done every day like they always do.
Beautiful. Marty, it's always
a short trip up the elevator.
And he did it under 30 seconds, my friends. Always good advice, my friend. A very wise individual, friend of mine, Mr. Marty Haldane of Voxtur / ANOW. Let's do it again soon, my friend.
No, thank you, Dustin. Always awesome talking to you. You're one of my favorite persons in the world. So love it. Thank you for having me. I love anything I can always do. You guys just let me know.
We'll talk soon.
All right. Take care.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.